Hello. For those that don't know me, I'm David Smith, Chair of the Australian Trucking Association. It's great that you've been able to join us for ATA Live. Whether you're tuning in from Australia or around the world, a member of the trucking industry or part of the wider community, welcome everyone. This year has been a huge challenge, but what has shone through is the commitment of the men and women in the trucking industry who keep our country moving. I could not be prouder of our industry and take this opportunity to say thank you. This afternoon's broadcast will share industry stories, interviews with familiar faces and some new ones, and give you a chance to have your say on the issues that matter. We'll also celebrate industry excellence with our national awards. I congratulate all our finalists and wish them the best of luck. ATA Live would not have been possible without the unwavering support and commitment of our sponsors. Thank you to all of you. And now it's time to get on with the broadcast. Thank you.
Massive welcome to ATA Live. I'm Mark Beretta, and as a big fan of trucks and the trucking industry, I'm thrilled to be spending the afternoon with you talking about one of our favourite subjects. My little brother Paul is a driver with Thurwoods. He's about to hit the road from Sydney to Melbourne with a fresh load of fruit and veggies. So I know a little bit about the industry and the incredible work you do, and I'm looking forward to discussing that this afternoon. Now, we have a jam-packed couple of hours coming up for you. We're going to reveal the Kenworth Legends, always an important part of today. We can't wait to show you who wins that impressive title this year. We've also got some amazing industry stories to tell. We've got a host of special interviews with a lot of faces who you may already know, but some new ones as well who you'll meet today. One of our special guests is the man who transformed the Lonely Planet Group. He's recognised as a master of change. Gus is an incredible guy. He has an amazing story to tell, and his energy is simply infectious. You'll love hearing from him a little bit later on. Now, here's our plan for the day. Coming up at about 2:30 is Trucking Q&A. Tony Jones will be here to take us through a great session discussing some of the big issues that are facing the industry with a panel of experts. Then at 5 o'clock, we can dress up and step it up a little bit for the National Trucking Industry Awards. Again, one of the highlights of the day today. So wherever you are around the country, wherever you're watching around the world, settle in, relax, and enjoy what is going to be a great afternoon with us here. To get us started, I'd now like to welcome Deputy Prime Minister Michael McCormack, who has a very special message for all of you tuned in.
Seems Australian life these days is all via Zoom, via these sorts of telepresences. But we're getting things done. And speaking of someone who got a lot of things done, Jeff Crouch, former chair of Australian Trucking Association, I want to again acknowledge the work he did and acknowledge the efforts he made. David Smith has taken over the role, and I wish him well. I know David is passionate about the trucking industry, as we all are, and we've seen the trucking industry at its best during the coronavirus pandemic. It's been very difficult for so many people. All Australians have had to put up with hardships through this global pandemic, but thanks to the trucking industry, they've had their supermarket shelves stocked. Thanks to the trucking industry, personal protection equipment, respiratory equipment, face masks were all delivered on time so that Australian communities could have access to that vital medical equipment. Thanks to truckies, they've done the right thing. Yes, we had to go through a process with the state and territory ministers through the TIC, the Transport Infrastructure Council, protocols and processes and the normal meetings that we've had, on top of the weekly meetings that we've been engaging in to ensure that we got that code, that transport code, so that truck drivers could continue to do what they do best, and that is get across the borders. That is, have that access, have that availability at all times. So thank you to the trucking industry. Thank you to the ATA for its representation of your drivers, of your workers, of your members. And I say again, if you haven't already downloaded the COVID Safe app, please do so. Make sure that you keep up to date with the best medical and health advice that is made available. I know that the australia.gov.au has a lot of information servicing the transport industry, making sure that all Australians are aware of what's happening and the updates and the information available for COVID. I wish you well with your endeavours. David Smith, I know, is going to be a great leader of your organisation. I appreciate the role, the efforts that you've gone to, and I know you will continue to work for and on behalf of our nation. Thank you very much.
Deputy Prime Minister, thank you very much. And Michael McCormack is a great friend of the industry, and it's fantastic to have him here to join us today and give us those words. Now, 3 years ago, the Australian Trucking Association, together with Daimler Truck and Bus, launched the Daimler Future Leaders Forum. It's a career-defining program that develops the next generation of Australia's trucking leaders. The program has had 3 cohorts of future leaders who come from all around the country, from a range of backgrounds and roles within the industry, from drivers to directors and managers and right across the full gamut. Here's a look at the 2020 Future Leaders Forum and what they got up to.
Daimler's Future Leaders has really grown over the last years, and we couldn't be happier with the sponsorship and the way it's been received. We've had some great people go through the program. We've had some fantastic outcomes, and the alumni from that program have been in contact with each other ever since and really built a nice foundation to go forward and relationships in the industry.
This is groundbreaking. This is really taking on tomorrow's leaders, giving them that training, that development at this early stage, ready for the future. So we are starting to future-proof our member association boards through this training.
The recognition that you feel when you get chosen or accepted for this, it's invaluable. You can't put a price on it.
I was really excited. I was also a bit nervous, coming away, not knowing anyone else that's here. But everyone is really friendly, very down to earth. It's been a really welcoming group.
I think it's great to see a program that's so unique in the industry that's about developing the next generation of future leaders. And I feel that all the topics that we've covered are going to set our participants up for that future success. So it's been really enjoyable, and I'm really proud to be part of a program that is so unique to our industry and remains to be unique as it stands right now.
We have our future leaders come here to Canberra. They have leadership training with a facilitator, which is Rod Hatch. We also have our media training with Anne Fullwood. And across those 2 days, they're really getting an insight into not just elements of association land and what might be called upon them if they were working or on a board within a member association, but those skills that they can take back to their own jobs and their own career paths and all those sorts of things. As part of the program, we also go to Parliament House and we have meetings, group sessions with politicians, and that's really to understand the advocacy side of what we do. And it is quite overwhelming when that first visit happens, but the energy and excitement after they leave is great.
I think it's really impressive that they believe in us, and they've got the right view of forward thinking to invest in young people now, so hopefully one day we make a big difference.
Oh, it was a little bit daunting coming over here. I didn't really know what to expect and how full on, and when it says that it's 2 full-on days, it is really 2 full-on days.
Really fantastic opportunity for me personally to be able to grow my network within the transport and trucking industry, which is very important for anybody. So I'm really excited for what that brings as well.
The future leaders are the future of this industry and the industry as a whole. And it's important that we continue to support that and we continue to push our resources behind that to give them a head start and give them an accelerated process to become better leaders in the industry. On our side, we're extremely happy to be sponsoring the Daimler Truck and Bus Future Leaders again. We couldn't be happier with the way it's gone. We're really looking forward to a great intake this year. Good luck to all those people in there, and keep on trucking. We'll talk soon. Thanks, bye.
And it's great to have the team joining us now. Daniel is standing by for us, and along with him, Anne Fullwood, Media Mentor, and Robin Zadow, the 2018 Future Leader and Director of Windy Creek Contractors in Western Australia. Great to have them all with us. Fullers, if I can start with you, great to see you, number one. Firstly, what does this program mean to the industry, do you think?
Oh, look, I think, Mark, great to see you, being back on the air with you for the first time in a long time.
It's been too long, Fullers.
So much. And it's a great pleasure to be here. And I must say, if I may first and foremost say, as you saw, Daimler for supporting such a thing, because the average age mark of truck drivers in Australia is 47 years old. So you can see that there's a generational necessity to keep bringing new people in. So we applaud Daimler for this, because really having a vision like this, a global company, means that Australia is almost a test case to see what we can do about bringing together a community of both young and old and crossing the generations. And the other thing is the ATA for thinking, actually, we've got to get this industry strengthened and emboldened and empowered by their younger leaders, following in the footsteps of some fantastic people who've led the way for so long. And as you know, the trucking people say all the time, without trucks, Australia stops, Mark, and we do know that.
Yeah, absolutely, and well said. Robert, if I could ask you, what was it like going into the program and being one of the first of that Future Leaders group? What did you take out of it?
Thanks, Mark. It was a bit daunting being the first group. I guess we didn't really know what to expect, I suppose, and I come from a very small company in the West, so showing up to Canberra was a bit daunting to start off with, but it was a really great group. We obviously all had common backgrounds, so it was really, really easy to build a bond with those people, which was, I think, a really, really great outcome of the program, which I think has followed on with the subsequent groups. That bond is really, really important and has been valuable going forward.
Okay, so now we're a few years on. What are the main things, or what was the most important thing you took out of it?
I think for me personally, and particularly this year with the changes, the idea of leadership not only within your own organisation, but leadership right holistically through the industry. So if you want to affect change, the ability that the ATA gave us that time, sponsored through Daimler, to learn how that advocacy program works from our little industry associations in our own states, how that information can feed through and how we can be a part of that on a wider basis. So particularly this year for me, we run a tiny organisation. Without those networks that I had, it would have been a lot more difficult to navigate the challenges we've had in transport this year if I didn't have the understanding of how my industry association works and could assist me. So I think that's been a really dominant thing for me this year.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Daniel, it is a fantastic program to be behind, and congratulations and thanks to Daimler Truck and Bus for getting behind it. Why do you think it's so important to the industry, and what does it mean to Daimler?
It's interesting listening to Robin and Robin's cohort talk about what they got out of it, and I think for us that's a measure of the success for the industry. We set ourselves a task to be market leader, and we also said to be market leader we need to lead the industry. And it's one thing to donate money or put money forward to the ATA and tick a box to say that we're being responsible and showing leadership, but that was, to be honest, not enough for us. We looked at our own experiences, and we had a pretty young management team at that stage. 47's not that old, Anne, as an average age. I'm okay with that, but when we looked at, I guess, what we missed out on or what we would have given ourselves if we had the opportunity to do it again, most of us got our training after a promotion. When we got to a certain level, we were then taught how to behave at that level. And if we could have done anything, it would have been to get that training before we needed it and to be able to learn and step into the jobs more ready. So we were looking at the program, and the ATA, most of the credit goes to them. They were the ones who put it together. And it's been, I have to say, even more successful than we would have hoped. When you talk to the graduates of the program and the fact they still talk to each other, it's been really, really promising from our side. And I think the types of training that are in there, media training and lobbying training, are not the type of things that most people in our industry have been exposed to, particularly at a young age. And like all industries, our industry has changed a lot. And we need to make sure that we equip all the people in the industry to make it as good as it possibly can be.
Yeah.
We love working in trucks, and we hope that it becomes a destination industry for more young, intelligent people.
Yeah. And Daniel, I'm sure there's a lot of those young, intelligent people who are watching right now and thinking, boy, this is my aim. I want to be part of this program. Just very quickly and finally, where do you see it going forward? Where is this program heading to?
Well, look, we're really committed to it, and we think each year when we sit with the ATA after each cohort goes through and get their feedback on what they liked, what they disliked, what they thought was really beneficial, we take all that into account and adapt it for the following years. I think the one thing I hope that will come as we go forward is, and it was really, again, interesting to hear Robin say it, for the alumni of this to get together and become the future of the industry and know each other, and even in times of COVID, be able to ring somebody and say, hey, and know them and have interaction with them and be really comfortable with that exposure. I'm like Robin, I came from a small country town or a bit more remote, so it's nice to get that exposure to other people and get other ideas and other views and be able to lean on those people going forward as well in the industry.
Yeah, look, it's a great program, team. Thank you very much for your time today, and great to see you. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, and an awesome job. We really appreciate the work that Daimler has done with it as well. Daniel, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Great to see you, Mark. Thanks.
Drivers are often the first on scene and go above and beyond to help others. The Bridgestone Bandag Highway Guardian Award highlights positive actions in our industry. The ATA and Bridgestone are very proud to partner to bring this important initiative to industry.
Bridgestone Bandag Highway Guardian is a wonderful example of our company's CSR initiative, Our Way to Serve, in action. Our Way to Serve is Bridgestone's global commitment to support people, mobility and the environment, and our important partnership with the ATA to recognise Bridgestone Bandag Highway Guardians plays an important part of this commitment. Through recognising the selfless acts of the trucking industry, we are able to honour exceptional behaviour and acts that can often go unnoticed.
The award not only shines the light on the excellent people in our industry, it helps tell people outside the industry about these great stories.
Bridgestone takes great pride in being able to recognise these acts of heroism that take place within our trucking community, and we're excited to be able to continue this into the future.
Once a Highway Guardian, always a Highway Guardian.
We would like to thank all of the current Bridgestone Bandag Highway Guardians and congratulate you.
We thank you for your quick thinking and selfless acts.
And we look forward to being able to recognise true acts of heroism into the future. Thank you.
Some pretty amazing stories there and incredible truckies. Well done to them all. Thanks to each and every one of you for your selfless acts in keeping our roads a safe place and making them safer for everybody who uses the road. There's also hundreds of amazing owner-operators in Australia, which is why Bridgestone is celebrating their contributions through an exciting new photo competition. It's time for all you hard-working owner-operators out there to share your pride and joy with the entire world. All you have to do is snap a picture of yourself and your truck showcasing what a day in the life on the road is like for you, and send it to the ATA via Facebook or Instagram. Our good friends at Bridgestone are giving away a $2,000 voucher each fortnight for the best picture received. That's $2,000. Now, the more creative your picture, the better chance you have of snapping up that $2,000 Bridgestone voucher. Head to the ATA socials for terms and conditions and to find out a little bit more.
The trucking industry is constantly evolving, and so is the technology that we use. To discuss this, I'm joined today by Craig Lee, General Manager of On Highway at Penske Australia, to explore what he's seeing in the market and how operators are harnessing safety technology. Over the decades, trucking has a long history. We've seen quite some significant shifts in the trucking industry regarding safety in particular. What have been some of the most significant changes that you've seen?
Well, Emily, you're exactly right. We've seen some huge changes in safety, and I think it's important to recognise that there's a very good reason why those safety requirements have come about. If we look back over the years, when we look at trucking, it's not an industry at all that operates within isolation. Like so many other industries, it operates within a broader community. And trucking, I think importantly, has a massive impact to the community, not just with the fact that it's responsible for delivering goods to houses and other businesses, but it operates in a community that is the public roads. So some of the big changes that we've seen in safety, certainly not just with our brands, but I think throughout the business, through the whole business, has been technology driven. So, the major things that we've seen are things around driver security. So if we think of recent enhancements in vehicles such as emergency brake assistance, there's lane guard systems, adaptive cruise control, and electronic stability control. All of these innovations have been very important for both community safety and also the safety of the drivers themselves.
How have those changes sort of played in with Penske?
Within the changes that we've seen, they've had a significant impact in the development that we've seen with our OEM partners. For an example, if we look at a specific segment that Penske plays quite heavily in, is the refuge segment with one of our brands. And it's a great example where it's a segment where we see an enormous amount of trucks working in very close proximity to communities every day. So we've seen fantastic safety involvement, or in safety improvements, I should say, in vehicles working in these spaces. Examples are the use of cameras, the use of sensors, the use of visual aids such as improved window and improved mirror technology, such that drivers within these refuse vehicles have a much better vision of the surrounds that they work in. If we think of how a conventional truck, you'll see a driver gets out of the right-hand side of a truck. One of the other safety aspects that we've seen come into refuse vehicles specifically is that now drivers tend to get out onto the curb side of the unit. So not only are we focusing on protecting the communities, we're also being very certain that our drivers are the best protected they can be in the way they get in and get out of these units.
So some of these technologies that you're speaking about, some people might think that these are technologies that have typically only existed in, you know, cars or high-tech vehicles, but it's in the trucking space too, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and it needs to be. I think it's fair to say that not only safety that resides within these trucks has been important, but also driver comfort. When we look at holistically with driver safety, we need to consider fatigue management. So the ease of operation, the comfort of trucks is very important. When we consider that drivers are spending extended periods of time away from home, away from their own beds, effectively living in these trucks, some of the development that we've seen over recent years have been the expansion of the space inside these cabs. And we've now got cabs with 2 metre high clearance so that you can walk right through. You know, beds that are much larger, much more comfortable. So as an importer of vehicles, it's very important that we provide our customers with products that allow them not only to be safe, but also to provide a good employment environment for their staff.
With such a big focus on safety and supporting your customers and truck drivers, how has Penske's operations changed during 2020? You know, with coronavirus and the bushfires and everything, it's been a pretty challenging year for the industry.
It's been a really challenging year. Penske is a very diverse organisation in Australia. We're very heavily involved in trucking, but importantly, we're also a key supplier to other industries. Industries such as mining, critical infrastructure like hospitals. We do an enormous amount of work with the Department of Defence, and we also supply large marine customers. We found this time to be particularly busy as we've worked with all of our businesses and all of our partners to ensure that we've kept these critical tasks and these typical infrastructure projects running.
Well, thank you, Craig, for sharing things from Penske's point of view and touching on some really important issues there.
Thanks for your time, Emily. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Just a shout out to a few people watching around Australia, to the team at Divell's, at Goulburn, all tuned in the office there. Great to have you with us. And to Michelle and all the team at Tasmanian Transport Association, all the members down there in Tassie, great to have you with us as well. We have a lot more coming up. The Kenworth legends will be revealed. Stay tuned for that. And a big change is on the way for BP. Looking forward to hearing about that. Then we've got a chat with Barry Dubois. That should be pretty special, about where we are with mental health. A great update on that coming your way. And then how disruption brings opportunity. So please stay right there. We're back in just a sec.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Locally manufactured products known for their quality, safety and reliability support Aussie jobs. So look for the logo the nation trusts to be sure it's authentically Australian made.
Hi, my name's Bert, and I'm a big fan of supercars. It's my job to make sure everything's clean. The cars, the fuel, the track. You can't get a top performance if it ain't clean. That's why I only use BP Ultimate. Keeps the engine clean so it stays at top performance.
I'm pretty big on men's health. I've had another chap who was getting constant headaches, went in for his truck safe medical, sky high blood pressure, took him off the road. That's one of the major values of truck safe, looking after your staff.
Hey, welcome back to ATA Live. Great to have you with us. Now, earlier this year, BP announced its ambition to be a net zero company by 2050 or sooner. To talk us through what that actually means and how they plan to achieve it, I'm joined by Brooke Miller, Vice President of BP Sales and Marketing here in Australia. Brooke, great to have you with us. Just talk us through that. What exactly does that exciting announcement for BP mean?
Thanks, Mark. Just before I start, I really would like to acknowledge the hard work for everyone who's online today has put in this year to keeping Australia on the road during COVID. A huge thanks for everything everyone's done during an incredibly difficult year. If you cast your minds back to the start of this year, to February, which of course now seems like a complete lifetime ago, we were in the midst of bushfires, we were just heading into COVID, BP announced an ambition, a net zero ambition. So what does it mean? It means that we aim to be a net zero company by 2050 or sooner, and also to help the world get to net zero. To do
Yeah, I think we've just lost Brooke there for a moment, so we'll hang on for a sec. We might get Brooke back.
Am I back?
You're back, Brooke. Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. Where did I lose you?
We're just getting into what it means to be net zero by 2050.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what does that mean? What it means is that we aim to be a net zero company by 2050 or sooner, and to aim to help the world get there as well. So to do that, BP needs to tackle around 415 million tonnes of emissions, 55 million from our own operations and 360 million tonnes from the carbon content from our upstream oil and gas production. Importantly, these are absolute reductions to net zero, which is exactly what the world needs most of all. We're also aiming to cut the carbon intensity of the products we sell by 50% by 2050 or sooner. So we've set this path of change out because it is the right thing to do. We all need a rapid transition to lower carbon energy in order to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. Then more recently, if you cast mind back to August, we announced more detail of our new strategy that will see us transform from an international oil company to an integrated energy company focused on delivering solutions for customers. So that means that we aim to be a very different kind of energy company by 2030, one that offers a range of connected energy options, not just oil and gas. So we've set out ambitious aims, 10 in total, to reduce emissions, to scale up renewables, and to invest in low carbon. Those aims are supported by a whole range of KPIs, detailing what we need to achieve by 2025, 2030, not just 2050. So an example of those KPIs is our aim to focus oil and gas production on lower volume and higher value. I think that's a really unusual thing for an oil company to say, lower volume. So it means we'll be reducing our production by 40% with no exploration in new countries within 10 years. So while hydrocarbons will be an integral part of BP for decades to come, we'll be a more integrated energy company with hydrocarbons one part of a more balanced portfolio. Another example of these KPIs is very close to my heart actually. It's our commitment to increase our annual low carbon investment tenfold to around $5 billion a year within 10 years. We're aiming to have developed 50 gigawatts of net renewable energy generation capacity by 2030. So to give you a sense of the scale of that, today in Australia, there are around 2.5 million solar rooftops, and that means there's about 40 million solar panels in Australia, and they're producing around 10 gigawatts of energy. So what we're talking about is around 5 times that. And we're not starting from scratch. So we've got solar, biopower, onshore wind, most recently offshore wind, and we have a pipeline of projects that add up to around 20 gigawatts of capacity. So this net zero ambition, it's both an opportunity and an enormous challenge. And as you know, talk is cheap, so we're really focused on delivery. Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Brooke, it's quite amazing what you're undertaking. I mean, this is a massive change, and as you say, for an energy company, it's quite extraordinary. Well, what does it mean to the team on the ground here in Australia? How will things be different, and how much of a big project is this to try and get your head around and tackle?
A great question, Mark. This year, BP is celebrating 101 years of operations in Australia, and I think it's fair to say we've all seen just such enormous change. So over those last 101 years, we've worked with Australian governments, with communities, and with industry partners. So we're very excited about this opportunity to reimagine energy in Australia. And so what does that mean? Really, that's about co-creation. We know that there isn't one single easy solution to decarbonise, and we also know that we're going to need to evaluate and seek opportunities to deliver new low carbon energy solutions in this market. So the challenge to get to net zero, it's one held by many companies, many countries, many communities, and also many of our customers who are part of the ATA. We're hearing from customers that they really want new integrated solutions that give them firm, cheap and cleaner energy. So at BP, we're really focused on scaling up what we call the next generation mobility solutions, and those things include electrification, sustainable fuels and hydrogen in heavy duty transport. You might have seen the press this week actually about the government's technology investment roadmap. Hydrogen has been identified as one of the 5 priority low emissions technologies. It's forecast to play a really key role in decarbonisation in long-haul heavy-duty transportation, and we do have plans to scale up hydrogen refuelling stations. I think we've got a really well-placed truck stop network to do that. We're aiming to build positions in both blue and green hydrogen in the US, the UK, Europe, China, and of course Australia. And we're focusing on industries like power and heavy-duty transport. So you might be aware that we recently collaborated with ARENA on a feasibility study into export-scale renewable hydrogen production in Western Australia. The study was based in WA, in part due to WA's really vast solar and wind resources. It also has great existing port facilities and proximity to large long-term markets for green hydrogen. Although it's not right around the corner, we are intrigued and committed around hydrogen for long-distance fuels. I think another exciting part of our strategy is that BP will be working with cities and with industries to accelerate their sustainability goals. So we're intending to work with 10 to 15 cities. Houston and Aberdeen have already been announced, but watch this space. And 3 industrial sectors, and those sectors are high-tech and consumer goods, heavy transport, including aviation, marine and land freight, and heavy industry, including steel and cement. So to do this, we've developed a new team inside BP called Region Cities and Solutions, and we see lots of opportunity for collaboration locally.
Good stuff.
As you know, some of our largest suppliers of diesel to them, we're a supplier of a large supplier to diesel in the mining industry and jet to aviation, not that people are flying anywhere just at the moment. And our biggest customers, people like BHP, Rio, FMG, Qantas, they all have net zero ambitions. And I'm betting that a lot of people listening to this call, they have their own sustainability or net zero ambitions as well. So if you are up for working together, so are we. We do not have all the answers, but we do believe we've got a lot to offer. We're very keen to partner and collaborate and to see what's really possible in Australia over the next days, weeks and years. Thanks, Mark.
Brooke, that's very, very exciting. Thank you very much, and good luck. It is a mammoth project to tackle, but it just sounds very exciting. And as you say, it's what people want. So all the very best with it. I look forward to seeing what happens over the next few years. Thanks for your time, Brooke.
Thanks, Mark. Take care, everyone.
All right, now whether operating one truck or a whole fleet, technology can play a key role in keeping your staff safe and maintaining your bottom line. Now here's E-Road with an insight into the types of technology and the solutions that are making a real difference on our roads today.
Hello, I'm Sean Finnegan from E-Road Australia. I'm part of the national team and I'm delighted to be given the opportunity to present on how the Right Telematics platform can help businesses and their drivers become safer. E-Road is a regulatory telematics company and was formed 20 years ago with safety at its core. In fact, We're on a mission to make our roads safer and your businesses more sustainable. Trucking clients across Australia, the US and New Zealand have helped develop the demand for the safety solutions that EROAD offers. When you're looking to improve driver safety in your business through telematics, ensuring the solution is simple and easy to understand is key for your driver's long-term engagement. EROAD fortunately has non-interactive telematics and interactive in-cab driver coaching units, and this enables us to compare the two solutions which are commonly available in the industry. With over 80,000 EROAD connected vehicles, we have a large sample base from which to compare the positive effects of having a vehicle using an in-cab driver coaching solution versus one that doesn't. With the in-cab device, we see that drivers logging into a vehicle have 50% less speeding events than those that don't. On average, a fleet with the device coaching the driver in real time and alerting drivers to overspeed and harsh driving events, combined with the right benchmark reporting, has an average 56% reduction on driver behaviour events. But in many businesses, we see up to 92% reduction. And the best part, the results are sustained. At the end of the day, this makes it easier for drivers to do their job in a safe manner, reduces the manager's time for crawling through reports to find both good and bad drivers, and improves safety outcomes for the business. It's simple, it's transparent. Driver coaching is just part of the larger suite of products that you should be considering to ensure a safer fleet and promoting a complete safety approach. Other solutions revolve around keeping your vehicle safe and include the pre-post inspection apps, a robust safety and maintenance module, and the ability to interact safely with the driver using messaging on device. Should you require your drivers to leave those mobile phones alone, or remind them to do their pre-inspections before they head off for the day. Keeping your staff safe is not just good for them, it's good for your business, as it delivers a return on investment in terms of greater productivity, less time with your vehicles out of action, and a higher utilisation of your fleet's assets. In 2020, we find ourselves in a COVID-19 world. Telematics allows you not only to keep track of your staff, but also record where and when the vehicles have been in perhaps COVID-19 hotspot areas using geofences. The changes at the state borders can vary, but with the right telematics platform, engaging the drivers in cab, you can allow communication to the driver of any border permit changes ahead of time via messages to the driver or via a pre-inspection checklist to ensure they have the correct pass displayed before undertaking the day's trip. Ensuring the drivers carry PPE, for example, is also being included in many of our clients' pre-trip inspection plans at the moment, as we find ourselves dealing with unforeseen safety challenges unimaginable a year ago. We're constantly working towards making our roads safer. I encourage you to reach out to myself or anyone on the EROAD team for any further information should you require a follow-up to this conversation on how we can help you or your drivers and your business become safer and more successful.
Just some amazing technology around at the moment. That was a great insight. Now, probably never before in our time have communities had such a challenge with mental health. It's an important issue and it's particularly important to this industry. So I'm joined by two special guests to discuss it. Dean Jenkins from MaxiTrans and Barry Dubois, who's an ambassador for Are You OK? Gentlemen, good to see you both. Dean, if I can start with you, MaxiTrans has been an industry leader in supporting mental health and mental health awareness. Tell us about your association with Are You OK?
Hi Mark, how are you? Yeah, listen, we've been involved since 2017 with Are You OK? And it's something we're quite passionate about. We've got a lot of staff in regional Victoria, or regional Australia, we've got a lot of staff who are relatively, we talked earlier, I heard someone talk about average age, we're in that same space. And it's something that, because of that, we're passionate about, but we also wanted to do something more than just get our people involved. And so back in 2017, we chose to donate 1% of sales on the day for our organisation to Are You OK? And we saw that as a great way to get our customers and our suppliers involved as well, because it's something that the industry is passionate about. It's an important issue for our industry. And we've managed to raise, with our customers, $60,000 over the last 3 years, almost $60,000 for Are You OK? And it's something we're definitely going to continue to do, because our people, our customers and our suppliers have all grabbed it and run with it with a passion, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Dean, that is awesome. And as you say, when you connect with your community, that really makes a massive difference. Now, Barry, as an Are You OK ambassador, what's the importance of what MaxiTrans are doing? How does that help?
It's incredibly important, but before I go on to how important that is, I just want to give you a little bit of a background of why I'm involved with Are You OK? For 30 odd years, I was a builder and developer, a bit of an entrepreneur. Like a lot of truckies, saw myself as an alpha male, but through a couple of events around 2002 through to about 2004, I found myself in a really, really dark spot. On the outside, business was great, and I seemed like a man's man, so to speak, and very much played the alpha male role. But inside, I was desperately dark and considered leaving this planet, to tell you the truth. I was in a spot that I could see no return from. It was a simple question by mates after a lot of egging on from my wife to ask me, was I doing okay? And then they let me know that they sometimes weren't doing okay. And it was that allowed me to start motoring out of that deep depression I was in, to mind the trucky pun there. But as I always say, you don't wake up on a Monday morning depressed. It takes a couple of years or months, whatever it is, to get into that. Once that conversation had been had, I started to motor out of it. So as soon as I got a platform on TV, I wanted to be a part of Are You OK Day movement and use my platform to share that message. But as far as how important it is for the trucking industry, I mean, it's incredible. And what Dean and the team are doing there by helping us is allowing us to put in place initiatives and awareness programs, how you can make sure your friends, your colleagues, your mates don't get into this position. And if they do, how you can recognise it and help them out of it.
Barry, yours is an incredible story, and sadly it's not dissimilar to a lot of people, and particularly probably a lot of men. And this is a tough time at the moment. Can I ask you, having been on both sides of it now, for most of us it's challenging to start that conversation with a mate, to actually hit the button and ask the question. How do you tackle that? How do you actually do it?
Well, listening to one of the truckies earlier talk about how the fact that simply a lot of truckies, their truck is their home a lot of the time. I mean, you can imagine normally that's an isolated feeling. You're very isolated, and in the last 12 months or 6 months, it seems like forever now, but we've been even more isolated. So you've got to understand, if you're going to ask the question, you've got to put your colleague or your friend in a comfortable situation. You sort of don't ask it as you're hanging up, by the way, how you going on the phone, or when you finish the coffee, say, see you later, by the way, are you doing okay? If you feel that you've got a colleague or a friend or an associate that's changed their mannerism, or you can notice something different, what we're asking people is to trust their gut and get yourself comfortable and see that they're comfortable, and simply ask the question. Once that's happened, 9 out of 10 times you're going to find they will talk. So try not to say too much, other than let them know that you're listening. And as you're listening, encourage them to talk more, and let them know that if they need help, you're there, or if they think they might need more professional help, let them know that you might be in a place to help them with that as well. And then that's the beauty of a conversation. And once that's done, check in with him a couple of days or a couple of weeks later. Yep. It's simple humanity. We listened to Daniel earlier from Daimler talking about how important communication is in business. In humanity, it's even more important. And, I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far on the event today. But it is about communication, but meaningful communication.
Barry, there couldn't be a stronger message. That's fantastic. Thank you for that. Dean, just a final one to you. Now that you've worked with Are You OK, and you guys, you've been outputting and putting in money to the organisation, which is great. I'm wondering, what has the organisation got back out of it? Has it had any impact or changed your people at all?
Listen, I think it's been fantastic for our people for a number of different areas. I think for the people that Barry was just talking about, we've actually got to the point now where there was so much discussion about it. In the last couple of years, we've trained over 30 mental health first aiders. And it's been astounding that in some cases, those mental health first aiders are being used more in our business today than the traditional safety first aider.
Sure.
Which is scary, but a positive thing, I guess, that at least they're being used now. And a couple of years ago they weren't. We didn't have them. Yeah. And so we've done that. We've got a lot more discussion happening in our organisation. And one of the other things is it's actually also helped some of our smaller suppliers. We've got a lot of relatively small suppliers in our industry. All of us do. And by us being able to provide support to other people, and to Barry's point, it's about knowing where to go when someone else needs help. And I think for us, that's been amazing. And our people are proud of it, and they should be, because it's something that, you know, we can see we've made a difference for some of our workmates, some of our customers, and some of our suppliers, and that's got to be a good thing. Even if we only make one bit of difference, it's better than we were doing a couple of years ago.
Absolutely, and Dean, good on you, and good on MaxiTrans, because that's a shining light in the area, and you're setting an amazing example for others to take a look at and say, hey, this is what we can do, this is how we get involved. Barry, great to see you. Thank you very much for your message today too, and just powerful stuff, guys. Much appreciated. All the very best.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Talk soon. Now, while MaxiTrans are the experts in trailers, there's one special trailer making its way around the country that is spreading a very important message. I'm excited that it is here with us today. This is incredible. Well, that was worth the walk. Mel, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. This is just mind-blowing. It is beautiful. Tell us about Safety 360.
Well, Safety 360 is an interactive and evidence-based road safety exhibition aimed at 16 to 25-year-olds to teach them how to stay safe around trucks on the road. And
tell us about the whole concept. Where did the idea come from?
So we know that young people are overrepresented in crash statistics across the board. Yep. So our 16 to 25s, our young drivers. We also know that they're overrepresented in multi-vehicle crashes that involve a heavy vehicle. And this is something that the industry is really passionate about fixing.
This is quite amazing because you've got the truck seats here. The whole experience is incredible. You've got the visual goggles as well to give you the whole virtual reality experience. What do you want young people to take away from this when they've been through here, seen all this, been through the activities? What's the message?
Yeah, we want them to understand what the perspective's like from the driver's seat, as well as from their own light vehicle, and as pedestrians and cyclists as well. We want them to understand some of the basic physics about trucks. They are big and long, and they take a long time to stop. So cutting in front of a truck can be really dangerous. Trucks have multiple blind spots as well, and it's really important to know where those blind spots are so that you can avoid being in them. And additionally, trucks take more space on the road. So they might take 2 lanes to get around a corner, they might need 2 lanes to get through a roundabout, and they're legally able to do that. But overtaking a turning truck is a very, very dangerous thing to do.
Gee, they're good messages, aren't they? This is virtually brand new, and it is absolutely magnificent, a great experience. To learn more, let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Riley from the Safety 360 team. I'm a driver and I also help set up and deliver the exhibition to young adults from the ages of 16 to 25 all around the country. A typical day with the Safety 360 project, we'll get up early, do a pre-start on your truck, check all your coolants, oils, brakes, all those things, make sure it's fully functional and working, and then we'll travel to a location, maybe a TAFE or a high school. We'll set up the exhibition, stop, have a rest, and then the students will turn up. We'll take students through in a small group, do a presentation, and educate them on trucks.
Hi, I'm Kayla from the Safety 360 team. I schedule the truck for its tours around Australia and help out with their events. The reactions I get around the truck is excitement. The truck doesn't give a lot away externally, so when they step inside and see how high-tech and modern it is, it's really exciting. My favourite part of the exhibition is the VR element, in particular watching people's reactions to the stopping distance video where they're reaching for the brake. We not only put users in the virtual reality seat of a car, but also a truck so they can see everyone's point of view.
I really enjoy working with the Safety 360 project and seeing the reactions and the change in people's attitudes towards and around trucks after they've been through the exhibition, and seeing what the difference is from our perspective and what you can and can't see from a truck.
I enjoyed the whole VR aspects. I've always enjoyed VR, and I just feel like seeing the videos from the perspective of the driver is really educational.
During the VR, when they had to check your mirrors, and the whole place was clear, and then the truck turned kind of clear, and you could see that there were actually so many people who were like, you just couldn't see them.
How long we need to wait while if a truck's doing 60 k's an hour, we need 85 metres, which is a fair distance when you think about it.
I really liked the element of surprise you get like when you get into the VR. So you look around and you're like, what's going on? And then you realise that you're, hey, look, there's someone right next to me telling me all about truck safety. Like it's just not something you experience on a regular basis sort of thing.
I like how it was very interactive instead of just learning off a book.
It really put a lot of things into perspective, just about like how much room you need to give trucks and just how much safer you need to be around trucks specifically.
That was so worth the trip. That truck is absolutely amazing. And what an exciting innovation to have out there talking on behalf of your industry as well. It is just incredible. If you haven't seen it, make sure you find it. When it's travelling around the country, go and see it because you will be blown away. The messages and the way that they are delivered are just incredible. So a real credit to the team who put it together and the team who are out on the road delivering it to schools right around Australia, because it will make a difference and it will save lives, which is absolutely so important. Now, for someone that I am very excited to introduce you to today, born and bred in wild Patagonia, Gus Belbonton never allowed his small town and humble beginnings to get in the way of his big dreams, and they were big dreams. At the age of 22, he dropped out of uni, hitchhiked around South America, set up his first business and landed his dream job at Lonely Planet. Fast forward a few more years and he was leading the company globally, working with companies like Google X, Nokia and Amazon on the latest technology, creative cultures and high-performing teams. As the trucking industry faces a world of disruption, here's Gus to share some of his important tips on embracing change and realising opportunity.
Gus here. How's everyone? This is weird. Of course, I'm not presenting to you live, which normally is what I would do. I'm here standing in front of a tripod and a camera with zero feedback. But let me tell you, when I was asked to do a keynote to the Trucking Association, I was super excited because it brings incredible fond memories of my time as a young traveler. When I was about 18 or so, I dropped out of university. It wasn't necessarily for me. And I grabbed the backpack and my thumb and I started hitchhiking around Latin America. Which eventually those trips led me to, you know, work in one of the biggest brands in the world in travel at Lonely Planet and become the executive director of that company and running the company worldwide, which was an incredible ride. But during that time of hitchhiking around Latin America, a lot of that travel happened in trucks. And often when I think of you know, when I was told about the Trucking Association, immediately these fond memories came back of me knowing a lot of different companies that will do certain routes between Latin America, between Buenos Aires and Rio and Santa Cruz and various other places. And I remember knowing the drivers and being able to be a good companion, I guess. And, you know, I was always there hanging out with them. They'll, you know, they even radio each other and tell, hey, I've got Gus with me, do you want him? And I'll be literally swapping around from truck to truck and keeping Truckies company. I had the most incredible time doing that, and of course, like I said, I've got a really beautiful connection to that side. So look, I've got a short period of time to give you a bunch of thoughts. I bring these experiences from my battle scars and my experiences over time in business and having seen an industry, you know, being media, I guess, being reinvented and changing dramatically through the birth of the internet. So bear with me. At points in time I might provoke you and make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Please stay with me, don't panic. It's just me shaking you up and provoking you to think slightly different. So let's get going. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. So let me tell you something really important. Adaptability is probably the most important quality that you can have as an individual and as a business or as an industry to be able to survive the speed at which things are changing right now. Let me set the scene for you. The book at the top that you can see there is the Bible, the Gutenberg Bible. The one at the bottom is the first, one of the brand new books that Lonely Planet is printing right now. Yeah. So the difference in between those two is almost negligible. There's not much difference. They look almost identical, except the book at the top was printed 560 something years ago, and the one at the bottom is brand new. So here's the lesson. When you do the same thing over and over again, you build momentum. And we tend to associate momentum with a positive thing. We think, oh, a bit of momentum and we're going to be great. Now, your momentum is great if it points in the direction of your customer. If your customer starts using a different solution to fix their problem, you become irrelevant. So be very careful. If your industry or yourself have been doing the same thing for a long time, you're going to get stuck in that momentum, and it's very difficult to shift it. The more you build, the harder it is to move away from it. Disruption looks a bit like this, right? Everything is looking fine. Someone comes into the market and promises a better solution to you, let's say transporting goods from A to B, right? We do it in trucks, we can do it in trains, we can do it in drones, we can do it, I don't know, in microparticles through some other crazy way, virtually, right? Of course, at the beginning, those new technologies fail and those drones drop all the loads and things get lost and you get a little kick because you think, I told you so, they weren't going to be as good as us, right? And all of a sudden, they figure out how to do it and it's too late to do anything about it. Please don't underestimate this. When disruption hits, when new products come into the market, when there is new ways of doing things, they're always going to come in, they're always going to fail, and then they succeed. And as that happens, if you at any point in time, when they come in or when they fail, you underestimate them and you think, don't worry, they'll pass, you will be making a mistake, right? This is what happened to all of us in media with the internet. It came in, it promised that it was going to revolutionize advertising, travel, this, that, the other. At the beginning, it failed. Lots of people couldn't quite use it. You couldn't pay on it. It was dangerous, yada, yada, yada. Eventually, they figured it out. And of course, all these companies took off and it was too late for many to do anything about it. All right, here's the other funny thing. Once we put those procedures in place, once we build a bit of that momentum, we often tend to concrete it. We often go, right, that process works, that forms works, that procedure works. Make sure we always do it the same and exactly in the same way. So what we do is we pour, concrete over the top, and eventually the concrete owns us. And we end up in a situation where we are owned by the system. So of course, there's your beautiful concrete. You can see it in the picture. There is the customer going down the dirt path. And of course, your beautiful picture of concrete is anyone in the world, in Australia, moving goods with trucks. That's your concrete, right? You've got trucks, they got goods, they want to match them up, you move them. But all of a sudden, let's say the customer moves down a dirt path and says, I want to move my goods in drones or in a virtual way or whatever, right? Bear with me. I'm just trying to extract, push you away from your traditional way of thinking. And of course, going down the dirt path is hard, is dangerous, is difficult, is risky, but the customer doesn't wait for you. Remember, the customer doesn't give a shit about you. Customers don't go, oh my God, I can't wait to get a truck to help, a company that can help me move my things from A to B. All the person wants is move something from A to B. That's it. How it happens, they don't care about it. Give me the cheapest and fastest and safest and I'm good to go, right? Same as people back in the day didn't want to actually buy a book to travel. All they wanted was to travel. Lonely Planet sold them books, but that was just a mechanism by which they achieved this. So be very careful with the concrete, because once it owns you, you get very stuck in it, you can't move away. Now, here's where we are at the moment, right? We're in a forced adaptation mode. What that means is, at the moment, instead of having the opportunity to adapt if we think we want to, we are being forced to adapt because of the pandemic that we're all experiencing right now. Many businesses are going through insane demand. Many are going through no demand at all. To some, very few, nothing has changed, right? But the truth is, when you are forced to adapt, you go through three things, which is survival, recovery, and opportunity. Survival you can't ignore. At the very beginning, when things hit hard, you need to pay attention to your survival. For that, you need an enormous amount of resilience. Tap into it. Humans are quite resilient, so that will happen naturally. The next thing, of course, is courage. You need courage to be able to recover. So you need to face it and do it, courageous enough to fail because you're going to screw it up, because some things are not going to work, but you need to get in it. And then to be able to uncover opportunity, you need to be curious. Without curiosity, if you don't start asking questions, why do we always move things this way? How do we do it this? Why can we keep, what? If you don't start asking questions, you won't get rid of the concrete and you'll continue to be stuck in your momentum. I know you can do it, and I know that, you know, as you move forward into the future, those new technologies and companies that are going to be moving the future of goods, products, and so on, have to come from you. Don't let anybody else do it. You should do it, right? So let me finish with a quick quote. I said somebody should do something about that, and then I realized I am somebody. So please, trust me when I say this, be the ones that actually come up with the future ideas that is going to drive your industry forward. Thank you so much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. A lot there to think about. Gus, as I said, is energetic, he's dynamic, he's got some great ideas, and he throws them all at you at a million miles an hour. So I hope you took something away. Shout out to Andrew and the PACCAR team down in Melbourne. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Great to have you with us. And to Jason and Melissa Barry from Border Crane Consultants. Fantastic to have you tuned in as well. And wherever you're tuned in around Australia, thanks for doing that. Good to have you with us. And we're going to take a short break shortly. When we come back, we meet the industry diversity champions. We've got an auction market update from Pickles, and we're going to have a chat about what's new in truck technology, which is obviously a big theme of today. And also we've got this one, bit of a favourite, the Kenworth Legends revealed. We're looking forward to that. Please stay right there, don't go anywhere. We're back in just a moment.
The research that we do into motor neuron disease is really focused on trying to understand how the body responds.
It's a very variable disease. It's very difficult to understand MND because every patient is so different. But now a lot of people, when they join research, they actually leave the clinic with hope.
When it comes to COR and the master code, just having that peace of mind is really important. We have that peace of mind that we've got really strong protection, you know, should we ever have to go to court or defend ourselves in any way.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Locally manufactured products known for their quality, safety and reliability support Aussie jobs. So look for the logo the nation trusts to be sure it's authentically Australian made.
Who would ever have thought in our land of great plenty that we could possibly be handed this year 2020? From day one in this year, the firm focus of most was the world's largest fires burning from mountains to coast. January 2nd and 4th I'll likely never forget, with fire all around us, the closest it's ever been yet. Firefighting resources so weary and thin on the ground, protecting homes fell to us and our good neighbours around. And nearby there were townships that no help could reach, the residents rescued by boat from the beach. Devastation widespread that will take years to mend, but thankfully, and at last, the fires did end. Then to help to rebuild stricken regional communities, Australians started to come back for holiday opportunities. But no sooner than that, with official details quite vague, a shipload of people disembarked with a plague. It would soon shock the world and close all our borders, turning rational humans into toilet paper hoarders, obediently at home and safe as our leaders all ask, while overseas some protest the conspiracy in a mask. Then just as you think things cannot get more absurd, and people look to their leaders for an encouraging word, to give hope in a time of global pandemic resurgence, a global leader suggests we should all drink detergents. But throughout every month of this chaotic year, there's an industry that's instantly stepped up a gear. Confronted the challenges, natural and man-made, Australian trucking should be proud of the fortitude displayed. The public should know that they have you to thank for being able to buy food and to still fill their tank. While we've nearly worn out the word unprecedented, you keep moving the goods that help keep us contented. Very few realise the new challenges now on your plates when moving those goods betwixt blockaded states. Yet while we many now sit working from home in our room, there's still not one piece of freight that's delivered via Zoom. So here's a toast to truck drivers out on the road. Australia's continued prosperity rides with your load. And I've said it before that our nation's great luck is still delivered every day from the back of a truck. While ATA still has so much that they're trying to do for you, to stage a physical conference they simply can't do. So while most of us can't fly or take an interstate drive, I'm more than happy to welcome you to ATA Live.
That was absolutely brilliant. How good. Now, every day the trucking industry relies on strong networks to stay connected, whether it be through truck telematics, calling loved ones, or keeping in touch with drivers who are out on the road around the country. Now, I've got Charles Riddler here with me, Head of Sales for Telstra's Internet of Things team, which connects your fleet, your assets and tracks imports all in one, an area pivotal to improving safety and efficiency in supply chain transport operations. Charles, great to have you here with us. Thanks for that. The transport and logistics industry, why is it such a key one for Telstra?
Look, thanks, Mark, and thanks for having us. And Telstra's really happy to be a part of this. So why is logistics important to Telstra? It's pretty simple. There's really two key things. There's the what, and that's moving expensive assets and goods around. And so tracking and increasing the visibility of our trucking partners to those assets is super important. You don't want to lose them, quite simple. And secondly, the how, so managing how we move those assets. So the people. So people are obviously the most important asset. We want to move those goods around safely. So helping the trucking partners move their fleet around and also manage the compliance of that movement. And so these things are pretty important to Australians, obviously. We can't survive without our supply chain. And Telstra has a big part to play here. Do you know how many vehicles are connected to the Telstra network at the moment? About 500,000. So it's a big number, big number. So we really care about this space. We're really passionate about the safety and helping the trucking fleets to manage that the most human, the human part of the element, which is their drivers, but also the assets that sit on the back of those trucks. And given that Australia is so large and remote, we've invested in the largest network in Australia. So we're providing the critical communications channel to help keep everyone connected. And as we're moving into this new world with COVID and the demand on the logistics networks is increasing, having supply chain visibility is really important for our customers and for our partners. And so we're doing more in that space to help increase the visibility on the goods as they come on the trucks and to the customers. So that's why it's important. We're doing lots. There's lots more to do there.
Yeah. Charles, that is a massive number of vehicles that you've got connected. Just tell us some of the customers that you're working with doing that.
Yeah, no, look, it is a large number, and we've got hundreds of customers that range from small one-truck fleets all the way up to large, sophisticated logistics operators like Linfox. And we can do this in a way with we've got Australian design, built, installed, and service products. So we're really focused on delivering Australian and local solutions for our partners. And so one of the key customers we've been working with recently is SCT Logistics. They're Australia's largest rail freight operator, supported by a large road fleet. And what's really cool about SCT and how we're working with them is we've got 3 different solutions that SCT have taken up from Telstra. First is telematics, which is pretty obvious, road and rail fleet solutions to improve safety and productivity. The second is our track and monitor solution. And this is the part that allows customers to track their assets, and SCT are using it to track their non-powered containers. And the customer benefit comes from reducing asset loss and increasing asset utilisation. Pretty simple. With less dormant assets, it's a benefit for the customer. And the third thing we're doing with SCT is our connected supply chain product. We're doing a trial with them at the moment to help provide visibility of imports by bringing multiple data sets together. So if you think ocean freight, there's shipping lines, marine traffic, freight forwarders, ports. There's lots of different data sets there. Bringing that all together in one data set to help our customers adds value. So hopefully we're doing the right thing and innovating with our customers.
Charles, technology is a big part of today, and you guys are at the forefront. So thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate that insight. Thanks, Charles.
No worries. Thanks, Mark.
Now, for a more in-depth look at the kind of technology available, let's go to Matt Thomas at the Telstra Customer Insight Centre right now.
I'm Matt Thomas, and I'm part of the Telstra Connected Vehicles team. And I'm coming to you from the Customer Insight Centre, which is where we showcase and highlight all of the latest in technology solutions. These telematics solutions help fleets with improving safety and productivity and reducing cost, which is more important than ever in 2020. We work with market-leading partners, Teletrack Navman, Fleet Complete, and our own telematics company, MT Data, to bring the best telematics solutions for all vehicle types to our customers. 94% of road accidents are caused by human error. Just 2 seconds of warning can help to prevent most accidents, which can have a devastating impact on your people. One of Telstra's new offerings is Mobile Eye, which is installed in millions of vehicles globally, delivering critical alerts such as speeding or tailgating to help drivers avoid incidents. Telstra's strength is in providing a fast, reliable network with the best coverage. And we're constantly expanding our low-power wide area networks to be able to track and monitor assets of all shapes and sizes, such as wagons and trailers. For example, the rugged Cat M1 tracker has a 5-year battery life and can track critical assets on our wide area network, as well as a Bluetooth network, handy for less critical assets. This allows your business to turn asset tracking data into decisions, improving operational efficiency and reducing cost. Telstra's connected supply chain is an exciting new solution area. It will bring a single view of the exponentially increasing imports and freight tasks entering Australian shores. We're about to see a new era in the visibility of import data. This will deliver insights and predictive intelligence which will help transform domestic operations. Today, we've seen several new and exciting solutions, and there are many more with Telstra as a technology partner. Find out more at telstra.com/connectedvehicles.
You do still have people that wonder why you're there or why you're doing it sort of thing, and you probably feel like you've got to prove something, but just do it. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you're happy.
Where the Australian trucking industry has done reasonably well in recent years is that we've already proven that gender is no barrier. Gender means absolutely nothing when it comes to driving a truck. What we now need to do is ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure, resources and policies and the ability for other forms of diversity to also break down those barriers.
I think to embrace diversity in workplaces is something that's been a key part of my work and my career, and I certainly think it's an important thing to do to recognise and harness the potential and talent of people from a diverse range of backgrounds. And I think when you, as workplaces and organisations, begin to embrace diversity, not only does that grow and encourage more and more diversity in the organisation, but it also recognises the potential and skill of people from diverse backgrounds, which can only be a good thing.
In this organisation, I believe that diversity has a really positive impact. We're very proud of all our different ethnicities that work for us, and they bring different opinions, different beliefs, backgrounds, and feedback, which on a whole really gives us a productive workforce, and we can really learn from each other in that respect.
The Teletrack Navman Diversity Program with the ATA is something we're extremely proud of. As a female working in the IT industry, especially in the early days, I really struggled with confidence and finding my voice in a largely male-dominated industry. And now things are changing. And it's programs like the Teletrack Navman Diversity Program which can drive change and put a spotlight on the need for diversity in the transport industry.
We want people to come in that come from different backgrounds with different thoughts to try and challenge and innovate. Also at the same time, we all like diversity in what we do. Like, we all drive different cars, we eat different food. It's vital, I think, that we kind of make that change. Otherwise, in an industry, I don't think we'll survive.
It's hugely important that we, as an industry, continue to break down the barriers within our industry. People have been talking for years about the diminishing pool of truck drivers, the ever-increasing average age of truck drivers. Well, that's going to continue. And this is why we need to ensure we continue to investigate every single potential resource, human resource that there is, and accept the fact that you don't have to be a middle to older aged male to be able to work in our industry, to operate a heavy vehicle. You can be anyone.
Teletrack Navman is a global leader in fleet and compliance technology, and we share ATA's ambition for greater diversity. Diversity and inclusion is core to Teletrack Navman's values, and it's critical to our continued success into the future. We also think it's critical for the future success of the transport industry. In working with the ATA and bringing this program to the industry, we hope we can drive positive change, and operators will consider a more diverse workplace moving forward.
You know, you don't really get a choice in what you do in life with your cards, but if you want to be a player, you've got to make the best of whatever it is that you've been dealt. So that's basically the way I looked at it, and I thought, I just got to knuckle down and start getting back into the things I love doing, and the job was one.
It was a battle for me growing up, knowing that I was different, even not necessarily knowing why, but knowing that I was. For a long time in my life, it's been something that I've known about but not really had a resolve, and probably until I was in my mid-20s, like early to mid-20s, it was when I came out. At the same time, I've also would like to think that diversity, whilst it matters, it doesn't matter. I think the idea that we're having to have this conversation is, in a way, unfortunate, because to me, I think people's skills and abilities and background and what they bring to the table is more important than diversity itself.
With champions like these driving the industry forward and paving the way for others, I think the industry is in safe hands. Let's get behind them and drive change in the industry.
Who cares if it's older males? You just do a better job than them and continue, carry on, smile all the way. Don't worry about them.
Hope you're enjoying ATA Live wherever you're watching right around Australia, or indeed overseas. Great to have you with us. Now, time to get a market update and see how things are moving at the moment. And Hugh Ranger joins us from Pickles. Hugh's got a busy night with us too, because we've got a truck to auction later on. We'll talk about that. But Hugh, just give us a bit of a feel. How are things in the market at the moment? What's the feel?
Look, I suppose like everyone, Mark, we've obviously had to adapt to the current environment. But look, ironically, it's actually very, very good. I've been at Pickles for the better part of 20 years, and dare I say it, we probably haven't seen it this good, this consistently, which I think for myself and for Pickles is a good compliment to the industry, both transport and equipment, that things keep moving forward, things still have to happen. Freight still needs to be moved, holes still need to be dug, and mining moves forward. So you know, it's been really good for us. Our clearance rates are through the roof. You know, returns are up on what we've previously seen. So, you know, dare I say it, a lot of people going through a lot of tough times, but the industry's very resilient, and I think for me personally, that's what I love about it as well.
Yeah. That's a good message, isn't it? Let's look forward to next year, 2021. What does this year mean for next year?
Look, I think in the foreseeable future, it probably looks very similar. When we look at, you know, statistics and what's going on out there around Asia and new trucks and new equipment coming into the country on the back of shipping lines and different things, it would suggest that it probably folds into 2021. You know, government incentives have no doubt made a huge difference and a huge boost to people's expenditure out there in the marketplace. But our general feel from a lot of customers, both vendors, be it large, small and one truck operators, and the OEMs as well, is that things are very good, and you know, people are still buying, people are still moving forward. So, you know, I don't think markets generally stay lower a lot longer than they stay higher, but right now is as good as we've seen it for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's a good story, isn't it? When we've heard so much doom and gloom about certain industries, you know, to find an industry that is going well and looks good into the next couple of years is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We've had to adapt. You know, obviously we haven't had the public at a lot of we haven't had anyone live at auctions for a long, long time. And it was even strange in that our numbers have increased of participation and people logging on. You know, any given auction in any given city might have 300 to 400 people now, where the last 3 months have been 500 to 600 people. So it's ironic how things sort of evolve around and the market rolls forward and people just roll up their sleeves and get on with it to a large extent.
And we're going to have a bit of fun this afternoon. We've got a truck to auction off. That's going to happen a little bit later on in the awards this afternoon. Tell us about it.
So we're selling a 1946 Ford jail bar, kindly donated, very generously donated by NTI, who have restored the truck to its current glory. They were only telling me this morning that if you'd have seen this truck 2 years ago, it was a rusted shell sitting in a paddock somewhere in northern New South Wales, and to see the glory that you see it in today is amazing. They've spent in excess of $250,000 in a lot of R&D and a lot of research to bring the truck to what it is today. It's had a couple of shirts. You've no doubt seen it at different places through the drought. It did a little bit of work around the Burrumbuttock hay run. You know, it's been to Bathurst. It's been to a number of V8 events. I think it was at the ATA's 30th anniversary dinner and function late last year in Canberra, out the front of Parliament House. So it's quite a recognisable asset, and to what it's turned into today is amazing. The custom, I love their take on it at NTI, is that it's a classic vehicle with a custom modern take.
Nice.
You know, the spec that they've put into it. You know, it's a jail bar, or a custom 46 jail bar chassis, but with an Isuzu drive line in it. It's got a lot of custom feature. It's got sleek spotted gum floorboards. You know, it's pristine. It would drive like any normal vehicle today. So the R&D they've put into it is phenomenal.
Yeah, awesome. What a masterpiece it is. Now, important note too for bidding tonight. If you're serious about bidding, do it through the Pickles website, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If you're bidding tonight, then please, you do have to bid through pickles.com.au. It's all very straightforward. Just log on, click on our website, and there's a tab or an icon right there in the front of you that will have the truck on it. It'll have the sponsorship message. Just click on there, follow the prompts through. It'll lead you right the way through. Obviously, if you're not bidding and you are just viewing, then you can just stay on the ATA broadcast that we're on now. But be very specific. If you are bidding, you do need to be on the Pickles website. And have some fun, get behind it. And we should have mentioned too the cause that it obviously follows, being M&D is extremely close to the hearts of the crew and the colleagues at NTI. Obviously, their former CEO, being Wayne Patterson, is passing from. So it's it's a real feature piece for them. It's something that's very close to them, and again, extremely generous of them to donate such a wonderful asset and raise so much money. So we would just urge people out there to keep that message in mind. You know, at NTI, they did say to me that, look, it's lovely the story behind the truck and where it's come about and how we've ended up here, but further to them is their support and their ongoing support of of such a dreadful disease, and that they could only search for a cure and help do that.
Good thing. Good luck tonight. Go and have a lie down because you're going to be working really hard tonight, Hugh. So go and get limbered up and get set.
Thanks very much.
Now let's take a look at the truck and what our winning bidder will be taking home. This is magnificent.
12 months ago, in a small town just out of Orange in New South Wales, this beautiful 1946 Ford Jailbar lay awaiting transformation. Today, this classic vehicle has been lovingly restored by dozens of NTI specialist suppliers. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson from NTI. On September 23rd, our partners, Pickles Auctions, will be auctioning off this 1946 Ford Jailbar to raise money for motor neuron disease research. And we're asking you to dig deep, put your hands up and bid online. Let's check her out. It's the product of thousands of hours of donated work. A hybrid of a 46 Jailbar body and a donor Isuzu N-Series truck, it offers a smooth ride with amazing bespoke features that set it apart from anything else. Originally, in 46, it had a 100 horsepower side valve V8 petrol engine. But this distinctive 3-bar grille is a modification by our 2020 build team. Today, it's fully engineer certified and powered by a grunty Isuzu diesel. Its 4-cylinder, 5.2 litre engine produces power of up to 145 kilowatts. The induction system is state-of-the-art with Euro 5 and EEV compliant emission controls. When it comes to stopping power, these old drum brakes are a thing of the past. Front and rear discs will keep you in charge with EBD, ABS and ASR traction control, hill assist and more. And connecting the drivetrain to the engine is a super smooth 6-speed manual Isuzu transmission. Now this rear tray is a work of art. It's got gorgeous spotted gum timber boards, stainless steel skid trays, 2 fridge freezers and more. We reckon it's amazing. But remember, it wouldn't look so good or drive so well if it wasn't for the donated time and efforts of some super generous and talented people, including NTI staff, the Royans Group, Envid Upholstery, and a special thanks goes to Isuzu Australia Limited. Now remember, this stunner is being auctioned to raise funds to fight the truly devastating motor neuron disease. All money raised will be donated directly to Motor Neuron Disease Australia. To put your hand up to bid, register at pickles.com.au.
It is an absolutely beautiful truck and it could be yours later on tonight, so have a good think about it and get online and have a bid tonight. Hey, if nothing else, have a bit of fun with the auction tonight with you. It should be a great one. Now, Seeing Machines has just delivered a new project that aims to reduce fatal truck crashes through the intense study of driver behaviour. Here to give us a bit of a deeper understanding is Seeing Machines CEO, Paul McGlone. Paul, thanks very much for joining us. Just tell us about Seeing Machines and the work that you do.
Thanks, Mark. Seeing Machines is a business that's been around for around 20 years. We were the early pioneers of what we call driver monitoring systems or operator monitoring systems. Our technology specifically targets the identification of fatigue and distraction with the objective of mitigating fatigue and distraction risk in driving. So it's a technology that's well founded. It's based on very accurate eye tracking, and our approach to this is quite different from a lot of other businesses that are involved in technology, in that at our core, we're very interested in the human. So we deploy a human factors approach with a deep investment in human factors science, and it's that approach that really underpins the relationship between understanding of what humans do in a vehicle and how our technology can help them.
Paul, it's pretty fascinating work. Let's have a quick look at a video now that explains to us a little bit more about what you're doing.
For an Australian company like Seeing Machines, to advance our technology, we need access to resources, expertise and operators. So the CRCP grant has been game-changing for us. We've had a product out in the field for a number of years that registers when a driver is fatigued by having a microsleep. But our goal really has been to capture drowsiness before it gets to a microsleep. And through the Advanced Safe Truck Concept program, we've been able to refine the algorithms to provide an earlier warning to drivers and give them even greater opportunity to more proactively manage safety.
For Finamores, we obviously bought the trucks and the drivers. Seeing Machines had the technology. Volvo very quickly and readily assisted with a truck simulator. Monash had the lab and the facilities here, the ability to bring all of that information into huge data sets that could then be manipulated.
A key advantage of the CRCP program is really putting academics and industry together, and by having the relationships directly with Ron Finamore and also with Seeing Machines, we take the science into the real world and we can actually learn back. Without the Australian government support, we wouldn't have been able to have done this study.
This was the first program that we had seen that was specifically designed for industry. And that was really important for us because it gives us the confidence and the ability to shape the program to ensure that it meets our needs, which is enhancing our technology and keeping the roads safer.
About 25% of all deaths on the road are caused by fatigue, about 25% are caused by distraction. This technology was very exciting for us because it gave us the ability to see what was happening in the cab. It gives us the ability to understand if a driver's having a micro sleep or at risk of having that, but also it's allowing us to track and monitor distraction.
You look at where they're looking, you look at what they're looking at, and that's really the data that we've been able to capture through this program.
The technology in the camera picked up my facial expressions, the movement of my eyes, the dipping of my head, and within minutes I was receiving a phone call from Finamore's operations in Wodonga asking me, is everything all right? It's a good thing for everybody. It's a good thing for the truck driver and it's a good thing for the everyday driver that's out there on the road.
A key aspect of the collaboration is that we've been able to collect the data that not only improves the technology, but also provides the scientific evidence to our sophisticated customers that this is robust technology that they should invest in to solve these critical safety problems.
There's a really unique opportunity for us to actually come together, and the CRCP program really provided the vehicle. We need to address road trauma in Australia, we need to do more, and we do know that fatigue and distraction are really significant issues that through technology we can actually make a big dent in it.
The Australian government has helped fund something that will not only be beneficial here for Australians and Australian road users, but has potential use across the world. And that's a very exciting place to be.
We've shown just with one project how it can fundamentally change our product offering on the global market. When we submitted the application for the CRCP grant in 2016, we were 75 people. We're now 250. And that growth really is in response to the huge demand that we are seeing globally from car manufacturers in particular. So that's critically important for positioning our technology on the global stage.
Paul, that's pretty impressive. Just step us through, what were the key findings of the advanced safe truck concept?
Yeah, look, the results are really categorised into understanding the driver's state, but also looking at what we could do with regard to heavy vehicle policy and what improvements could be made to influence this specific set of risks. As we heard in the video, fatigue and distraction risks represent about the cause of around about 50% of accidents. Now, around the world, there are more than 1.3 million road deaths per annum, of which a very substantial proportion are through fatigue and distraction. And also, in terms of insurance, the single biggest claims cost, which is driving costs back into fleet operators, is driven by fatigue and distraction. So this study helped us prove that camera-based technology is the most effective way in determining the drowsiness level of a driver. So just to be clear, this is not a technology that watches drivers. This is a technology that is specifically designed to pick up that point in time when the driver is experiencing fatigue, increasing fatigue, or a micro sleep, or distraction. And it's only those events that are captured and trigger a series of escalating alerts in the vehicle. So that's very, very important if you're a driver with a family, part of an organisation. I mean, the human cost, not just the financial cost of catastrophic accidents caused by fatigue and distraction is very, very material, as mentioned. In terms of policy, driver monitoring technology that focuses on these two risks in particular, and in time other risks, enables fleet owners and fleet managers to take a much more personalised approach to this particular risk. Now, to give a bit of an example, it's often thought that the longer you stay at the wheel, the tighter you become. So the real fatigue risk is at the end of a shift. Well, that is in fact not the case. It's certainly a contributor, but many fatigue events, a quarter to a third, happen within the first 30 minutes or hour. So that's all about what happened yesterday or what happened last night. What is your sleep health regime? Were you disturbed for whatever reason? So fatigue can occur at any time in the shift, from the moment you kick the ignition until the very end. So enabling fleet owners and managers to use this kind of information and augment the kind of technologies that they have in place for managing shift patterns, understanding the different fatigue profiles of drivers. That means you can deliver a system that will actually make the driving job safer, as opposed to a regulatory environment which is all about books and hours and controls.
Yeah.
So they're the big two drivers.
Yeah. Paul, that's quite remarkable, and well done to you and the team at Seeing Machines. We look forward to hearing more in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks, ATA.
Yeah, it is fantastic. One of the main themes of today has been about the technology, and as you're seeing, the technology is just incredible. A couple of shout-outs right now as we just change gears a little bit. Shout-out to Athol Carter and the Frasers team. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. And to Dave and Carol from New Zealand Trucking across the Tasman there. Great to have you with us as well. Thanks for tuning in there as well. Hope you're enjoying ATA Live today. Now, we've got plenty more to come. Shortly, Tony Jones is dropping by. We're going to talk about our Q&A session on the industry this afternoon. That is going to be one of the highlights. And that's coming up at 2:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. We've got a special message coming from Volvo. NTI brings us Rupert McCall, and the Kenworth Legends revealed. I know it's one of the highlights for a lot of people today. The Kenworth Legends are coming up shortly. We'll be back very soon. Stay right there. You're watching ATA Live.
Hi, my name's Bert, and I'm a big fan of supercars. It's my job to make sure everything's clean. The cars, the fuel, the track. You can't get the top performance if it ain't clean. That's why I only use BP Ultimate. Keeps the engine clean so it stays at top performance.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Locally manufactured products known for their quality, safety and reliability support Aussie jobs. So look for the logo the nation trusts to be sure it's authentically Australian made.
On September 23rd, our partners, Pickles Auctions, will be auctioning off this 1946 Ford jail bar to raise money for motor neuron disease research. It's the product of thousands of hours of donated work. All money raised will be donated directly to Motor Neuron Disease Australia.
Know that our systems, particularly after being audited externally, are robust and effective, and it's made us a better business overall. There's no reason not to be a Truck Safe member in this day and age. We're out there doing the right thing.
Oh, fantastic to have the legendary Tony Jones joining us this afternoon. Q&A Trucking Style is coming up. Tony, welcome to ATA Live.
Well, legend is usually something from the past, isn't it? I sort of feel like it's been a long time since I've dusted off and got the mothballs out of my Q&A suit.
I meant to say current legend.
I'm back and excited.
Hey, this is great today. Great to have you here.
Yeah.
You've got a special panel coming up for us.
I do. We've got a great panel. I'll go through them quickly so people know who's coming up. We've got the Honourable Catherine King. She's a federal MP for Ballarat, and she's the Shadow Minister for Infrastructure and Transport. We've got Gary Mann, many people know Gary. He's Chief Executive Officer of the Queensland Trucking Association. He's been at the coalface of the lobbying effort. We've got Professor Catherine Bennett. She's a chair in epidemiology at the Deakin University in Victoria, and she, during the pandemic in Victoria, she's been one of the key voices explaining the science of the virus. Brendan Richards from KPMG, he's a national sector leader of transport logistics. He'll be talking about restructuring business. And we've got Angela Welsh. She's the Director of Straight Shot Transport. Now, Angela's been literally at the coalface as we've try to negotiate through these border deals and the testing regimes and you name it. So it's a very good panel. We're looking for your questions.
It's a high caliber panel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, you'll be punching the questions out and steering them through. What are you thinking this afternoon? What are the key issues you want to hit this afternoon?
Oh, I don't think there's any question there was chaos at the beginning of this, particularly for the trucking industry and particularly at borders and around the testing regimes. And people are going to want to know how that's going to look in the future. We've had a bit of good news with the opening of the New South Wales South Australian border, with the extension of the Queensland bubble, if you like, down into parts of New South Wales. And it remains to be seen how long before Victoria goes out of lockdown. But of course, we know that truck drivers have been going through these borders right through the pandemic. How have they done it? How will that look in the future? Will a vaccine make a difference to how we handle all these things? So those are key issues. But there's plenty of other issues, of course, out there. There's this deferred payment scheme that some businesses are using. I think it's, you know, I'm not an expert on this, but it sounds like a pernicious use of industry power against truckies to me. So be interesting to hear how that one pans out.
Yeah, it sounds like we're in for a good afternoon. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. 2:30 this afternoon.
We are.
Tony, great to have you here, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to it. 2:30 this afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that. And don't forget at 5 o'clock, we've got the National Trucking Awards coming up as well. So a very big afternoon coming your way. Reminder, tune in from 2:30, your chance to have your say. Shoot those questions in, as Tony said. They'll put them to the panel this afternoon, and the awards are coming up as well. ATA Live is with you here. We've got more coming up, so looking forward to having you with us throughout the course of the afternoon. And we're recognising some of the greats of the industry as well. We've got the Kenworth legends coming up as well. So we're looking forward to a great afternoon.
Hi everyone. Clearly we'd all like to be there with you right now, celebrating the successes of the Australian transport industry. And sadly, like everybody else, we'll have to take a rain check on that at this point in time. Though as unfortunate as the current situation has been, perhaps one positive side of this pandemic has been how transport has been thrust into the spotlight. So Martin, as a manufacturer, we've seen a few challenges ourselves over the last few months, both at factory but also at dealer level. What are some of the lessons and takeouts that you've got from that time, do you think?
Well, Mark, first and foremost, the health, safety and well-being of our people, our customers and society at large is and always will be our #1 priority. Things have been changing daily, as you know, so there's been a few challenges that we find from one day to the next, but we've managed in a good way to ensure that we have social distancing and hygiene measures in the factory as well as the dealerships to keep the trucks on the road. But not only that, we've ensured that we've had safe and clean and hygiene areas for our drivers to manage their fatigue and rest whilst our trucks are being serviced and maintained. And that has been much appreciated by our customers and by the industry at large. We've all been learning and thinking on our feet collectively as an industry. When faced with challenges, we've responded with solutions like the rest of the industry. That's what this industry does. It finds solutions and gets the job done.
We've seen the importance of road transport really thrust into the spotlight in recent times. Would you say that there's been a bit of a silver lining of sorts to this pandemic cloud?
This crisis has taken a very real and human toll here in Australia and around the globe. And of course, the economic recession and the impact on livelihoods have been well publicised. Perhaps a silver lining is an understanding and recognition of the people that are truly essential in supporting a safe and well-functioning society, and in particular, the essential workers of our great transport industry. On a wider level, the importance of the supply chain has also been highlighted. We're a big country, and those supply chains have been stretched time and time again as the demand for essential supplies have increased. Yet, time and time again, the road transport industry has delivered.
Those are some very good points, Martin. One of the things I've been struck by over the last few months has been the agility that so many transport companies have shown. In an environment that changes almost daily, businesses have had to change and adapt constantly. What's your take on this?
Well, Matt, there seems to be a resilience that comes with working in road transport. Truck owners and drivers always seem to find a way to get things done regardless of the odds stacked against them. It's one of those defining qualities that stands out in the face of adversity. I couldn't help but smile when I heard one of the drivers being interviewed and reacting to all the praise being heaped upon long-haul drivers. And he just shrugged and said, "I'm just doing my job." And you have to admire that sort of humility in the face of such challenging environment. At one stage where drivers with little or no access to basic facilities on the road. And I think it's worthwhile pointing out that many industries have faced challenges with people working in isolation to get jobs done, and perhaps they've experienced a day in the life of a truck driver.
So Martin, is there a final message you'd like to leave for the wider ATA Live audience?
Absolutely, Matt. I'm truly amazed the way the Australian transport industry has coped with these recent challenging times. I'm very fortunate to be part of a global company, and listening to my colleagues around the globe, I have to say, what I see and hear in Australia, we are doing a very good job and we're in very good shape for the future. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for the work and commitment and efforts in ensuring that goods and services have moved freely throughout Australia during these challenging times, and the way that it's been done in a safe manner. Our role is to support our industry and your businesses, but I have to say that the role that you play and the work that you do in this fantastic industry cannot be understated. So on behalf of Volvo Group Australia, I'd like to thank you again for your commitment and your efforts. Thank you all very much, and stay safe.
A great message there from one of our important partners. Don't forget to, here's the schedule for this afternoon. Q&A is coming up with Tony Jones. That is live at 2:30. Don't move, because you want to be there for that. It's going to be a great discussion about the industry this afternoon. And then at 5 o'clock, we've got the awards, an important part of the afternoon, but we've still got some big announcements to make, so please stay right there.
Hey, it's Andrew McConville. I'm the Chief Executive of APIA. It's a real pleasure to be here to be able to showcase to you how our industry provides vital energy resources to millions of Australian homes and businesses, and why we need essential supply chains like the trucking industry to be really active as the Australian economy bounces back from the current COVID pandemic. In this segment, you'll hear from Sarah Simpson from Simpson Fuel. Sarah is now an official bright spark for APIA's Brighter initiative. You'll also hear from John Griffith from Gas Energy Australia, and from Ali Davenport, a long-standing friend of APIA from the Toowoomba-Surat Basin Enterprise, as to why the natural gas sector and the trucking industry have a really strong connection with one another.
We know there's a lot of businesses, a lot of local companies working in the natural gas sector in the Surat Basin. So these are companies that are working in areas such as vegetation management, water carting, fabrication, electrical services, instrumentation and catering. So we know a lot of businesses that are working in that sector. The economic and social benefits to the Surat Basin from the gas sector have been enormous. So the gas companies have invested literally millions of dollars in improving the health outcomes of people in the region. They've improved roads, they've invested in specific small businesses as well to help them to grow. There's also been benefits to the ag sector with utilisation of water as well as the compensation payments. And of course the gas sector, the growth in the region has benefited the entire supply chain. So things such as restaurants and motels, all sorts of businesses have really benefited because the whole region has benefited. Look, the best way for communities to be able to harness the opportunities that are going to come from the gas sector is to make sure that local businesses are capable of working with the gas sector. So that's improving their accreditation, improving their safety, and then it's introducing those companies that are capable to the gas sector and making sure that the local content actually happens. The other thing that's really important is to make sure that local companies are supported through their growth so that it's sustainable.
In June, the Commonwealth Government agreed with GA that carbon credits should be able to be given for trucks switching from diesel to cleaner gas. GA has also been asking the Commonwealth Government to honour its commitment to tax gas trucks' fuel at a low rate that reflects its more positive impact on the environment and the Australian economy than diesel.
My family started our business 67 years ago. They had a fuel pump at their house and it grew pretty quickly from there. We've been a Caltex distributor for 30 years. And so now we have retail sites, self-serve sites, bulk fuel and fuel cartage. Just about having a quality product and excellent customer service and a focus on safety really. So I had heard of APIA from industry reports and publications, but I found out more about their brighter program really because of the community work that they do. It interested me because it focuses on a broad range of roles within the industry. Being a user at the sort of end of the supply chain, I get to see how it impacts customers and the way people live. Being part of the group really gives me a broader perspective of the work that goes into gas products before it gets to us. So. This year more than ever, we're really driving the economy. We've been keeping the country moving and really working together to support the retail and grocery industries to overcome restrictions and border control. I think in a practical sense, we've worked together to do things like keeping roadhouses open and helping manage fatigue and, keeping up with gas supply, that type of thing that really has just, I guess, helped take the pressure off the transport industry. But then we've obviously been really supported by the transport industry as well. It's pretty much what's keeping us going at the moment. So yeah, it really helps that we work together to overcome all those challenges that we've seen.
Now, before I leave, I'd just like to thank the Australian Trucking Association for being a key partner with APIA and with our Brighter initiative. And as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to present challenges for the whole economy and every sector within it, one of the supply chains that is still supporting the natural gas sector is the trucking industry. So from all of us in the oil and gas industry, we'd like to thank you. We're in this together. Stay safe. All the best.
Mike Edmonds from NTI, and today I'm joined by Rupert McCall, OAM. Thank you, Rupert, for joining us.
Good to be here, mate.
Your career's been quite a roller coaster and described that way. Perhaps you'd like to give us some of the highs and lows of that.
It's a long story, but I grew up on the Redcliffe Peninsula. I was the son of a taxi driver. I was introduced to Banjo Patterson in grade 5 and it lit a spark in my heart. I wrote my first poem the next year. So when I finished school, I got a TE score, which allowed me the opportunity to study law at QUT. By this stage, I was playing club rugby for brothers in a competition that you know very well. There were a lot of other distractions also, but I somehow passed my law degree. I got a job with a big law firm. I was admitted as a solicitor in the Supreme Court of Queensland. I got sent to our suburban office in Strathpine. It was an office with no windows where I practiced miscellaneous law, which was pretty much whatever walked through the door. I woke up one cold morning halfway through that year and decided that there wasn't a lot of love and inspiration in the family law division of the Petrie Magistrates Court. So I retired, which wasn't great news for my mum and dad. But anyway, we got through that. I decided that I was going to make my living as a poet. I got to the crossroads, I turned left, I took the road less travelled. Since then I've performed at Anzac Cove in Gallipoli, Ground Zero in New York. I've recited to audiences including Bill Gates, Prince Charles, Hugh Jackman.
Wow, that is some career, absolutely. I bet your parents were surprised.
They were.
Recently you got involved with NTI's Thank You campaign, recognising the great work of the transport and logistics industry through COVID-19. What inspired you to get involved with that?
Our firefighters, our emergency workers, our health professionals on the front line and our truck drivers. I mean, to get things where they need to go, to keep the wheels turning. It doesn't happen by accident. Now, these people will not be shining in the spotlight. They won't have their names in the headlines in tomorrow's paper, but it doesn't happen without them, the truck drivers and others in the transport industry. That inspires me, and I think it's very worthy of paying tribute to.
Yeah, it's quite important you do that. We've noticed there's been a change with the public's perception of the transport industry as frontline workers through this COVID-19. It's a lesson we could learn from you on how we actually get that message across to the public on what an important job the trucking industry does.
Yeah, well, there's a balance involved, and you know, in telling your story, you just got to tell the truth. You know, like tell it how it is. Everyone's story out there, and the story of those around them, is worth telling. You know, the message in this case for NTI is a very simple one. Thank you. You know, thanks for keeping Australia moving.
And thanks, mate. Thanks for being involved. It's been great.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.
Now, without a doubt, a favourite brand for many Aussie trucking companies, Kenworth has been designing and manufacturing uniquely Australian trucks since 1971. Now, not only are the trucks unique, so are the drivers behind the wheel and the maintenance crew under the hood. That's why each year the ATA and PACCAR Australia recognise the incredible achievements of Australia's Kenworth legends. So, who are the 2020 Kenworth legends? Let's find out.
So today, Runners Transport, we are, I'd say, the biggest banana, mango and avocado carrier of fruit out of North Queensland, Australia-wide. We have a main depot, or a major depot in Brisbane, which then we service all of Queensland, probably from Rockhampton north.
So I'm based in Brisbane. My brother Ben, he runs Townsville, and Dad's in Tully. So we're spread across the state of Queensland for all our customers' needs. Brisbane's a big hub. We're bringing everything back from the south into Brisbane. Everything needs to be reloaded to maintain capacity for the next leg and be full out of Brisbane to service North Queensland and get back up to Tully to start again.
My side, to be successful as we are, I think it is the service we give our customers, and we, until probably 2 years ago, never ever had a salesman. We grew our business by word of mouth from a customer getting good service and telling his mate they ring and want an open account. So I think, to me, paramount to being successful is servicing your customers.
And also hard work. Les has always had a passion to work hard. We all have. We come from hard-working families, and I think that's instilled in you from day one. And hopefully we've instilled it in our boys as well, Roger and Ben.
Yeah, it is very competitive out there. But again, service, which we pride ourselves on. You know, we've had customers go for dollars, cheaper rate, and come back. Happy to pay that little bit more of a premium to get their freight delivered, you know, on time as they require without an issue.
Equipment is number one. You must have good equipment. I have never bought on price, I've always bought on quality. So today we are running 142 Kenworths, and those Kenworths are doing everything from local pickups and deliveries to road trains to Perth. Our drivers love the Kenworth product, and to me, that's what Blenners are, Kenworth.
The future of Blenners Transport, I think, is in good hands. I feel that with Roger and Ben coming on board and learning more every day, Les just needs to hand over the reins a little bit. It's nice to know that they've got the passion that Les has had all the years. We've actually grown with the business from one truck, but they've been thrown in now with the size that we are today. But I think I'm pretty confident that, you know, they'll take it to better and bigger places and face challenges that are new.
Proud to be a part of it. Proud to be a Blenner and be Les's son. Aspire to come to work every day and lead this company like he has for 33 years. I'm just proud of their achievements, you know, specifically Mum as well as Dad. Mum being able to put up with Dad and get through all the tough times, putting up with him 24 hours a day.
Very tough, but you've got to be tough. You've got to, you know, have that toughness about you to get where you want to go in life.
No, Jude's pretty easy.
I have to be.
I can do what I want.
I have to be easy.
Passion what we do, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't passionate. And I suppose, to me, building what we've got today from one truck and 3 growers, you know, you're pretty passionate about your business. So I still live and breathe it.
Being inducted as a legend is something that we would never have thought that we would be. We're very honoured and proud to have that title.
I don't think I've done anything special to be a legend, but I'm honoured that PACCAR think we are. So, yeah, it's just thanks for that.
It's been a long journey, but we've faced the challenges together, and I think, you know, it gets you where you want to be in life.
And the legend joins us now, along with Brad May from PACCAR. Les, congratulations. What a great thing. Give us a few of your secrets. What has been the secret to the success in building this business as well as you have?
Thanks, Mark. And yeah, Brad, Judy and I are really honoured to be part of this today. Like, well, I don't think I've done anything special to be it, but yeah, it's an honour. But from, I don't know, like that story says, you know, 1 truck, 3 growers to live out a day. I think the main thing what I see is customer service. Look after your customers, be honest with them, and you know, and your business will grow off that.
Yeah.
And that's been our philosophy since we've started.
Yeah. Why did you get into it in the first place?
Oh, that was a bit of an accident, really. I'm a farmer, and I've only stopped an ground bananas for probably 8 or 10 years ago. But I was loading through a major freight carrier in Tully, and he had this sub he used to come out and load for us every second week. And the subby said, as subbies do, you know, there wasn't where they load, they want to try and knock their freight off. So he bought the second trailer and said, if I'm up here every week with a trailer, you know, because in those days it was a 2-week turnaround, you know, would you load another time? I said, yeah, no worries. So that went for a while, and he had a subcontractor pulling his second van, which had our name on it, and it used to break down. He'd never make time. So after about 3 or 4 months, you know, he said, Les, do you want to buy this van? And I said, oh, well, I'm a farmer, not a trucker. So, yeah, so we took it on, bought a truck, and yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah, if it was an accident, it was one of the better accidents, Les, that's for sure. Brad, tell us about the Kenworth Legends. What do you look for, and what made Les the perfect fit this year?
G'day, Mark. There's no set criteria at all. You know, we call it the Kenworth Legends, but it's not really about Kenworth. It is really about the likes of Les and the operators themselves. You know, it's an amazing industry we work in. It provides a lot of opportunity for people, and, you know, if they can work hard, take some risks, and probably above all else show some real tenacity to ride the hard waves and, you know, come out the other side of that and build a business like Les and Judy have, I think they kind of self-select themselves a little bit. And if we can have some small part of that by them using our product, that makes us obviously proud and privileged, and to give them a forum like this to share their stories is our honour.
Les, must be great to have the family continuing the business on. These can be tough times at the moment for a lot of people. Just tell us about the hardest time that you had to work your way through and how you got through it.
Probably the hardest time for us is, as you know, we're in North Queensland in cyclone country, and now my coal business from day one till probably 2010, all we ever carted was bananas. You know, we were never into any other industries, the tomato industry or the mango industry. So I can just have this tunnel vision of bananas, and we grew our whole business on bananas. So 2010 came along, and we went from probably 120 loads a week to 4. I had like a yard full of trucks and no freight. So that was probably the hardest time, you know, with no sleep and worrying about the business. And yeah, just trying to survive that. But, you know, with good bankers, and we diversified after that. We thought, you know, well, yeah, we've got to spread our risks. We're sort of been bananas. And so I moved to the tablelands at that time, and we started with some mango growers, and now we have a major business out of the upland tablelands, you know, with the mangoes and avocados and citrus and everything else that grows up there. So that's what we did. And yeah, so cyclones, you know, was the hardest time and most sleepless time for me when that happened, yeah.
Yeah, it's a true story. So you don't grow a great business without getting through those tough times. Brad, your message to Les and Judy.
Well, I guess there's nothing really to be said other than to congratulate them both. I wish Judy could join Les in the shot. He tells me she's hiding in the background. The video was enough. But, if you know the Blenner Hazard family, you'll know just what a strong family unit they are. And all those attributes I spoke about before, shine through every day when you see them. If you meet Les now, if you know Les, you can see he's lost none of his passion and his fire and his determination. I'm sure Roger would attest to that if he was on the air as well. That as the second generation coming through, you can see that Les he's still got the same fire today as he once had. So I congratulate them both. I guess the whole industry does, not just Kenworth and Packard. They are an ornament to the industry, and what they build is a real credit to them.
Yep, fantastic, true legends. Les, congratulations. I hope you celebrate with a banana smoothie.
Yeah, I hope everybody has one.
Keep those bananas moving. Hey, Les, well done. Congratulations. Congratulate Judy for us. And Brad, thanks. It's a great award. People love it. And thanks for keeping it going, guys. All the very best.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Brad.
Okay.
Thanks, Les.
And that just about brings us to the end of this part of the afternoon. Don't forget the Q&A